Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Bill Callahan Fan Club president, Jake Bakoven.
I love Billy.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
This is On the Block here on 93.7 The Ticket. We are back with you on a Wednesday. I'm Jake Bakoven. He's the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet, Eric Strickland. And we've got plenty of sports to talk with you. Hopefully have Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald join us here within the hour. Of course, Shootout with Strick, the best game show on anybody's airwaves. We're taking it national. We're competing with everybody now with Shootout with Strick. And we got some Big Ten coaching rankings coming up throughout the day. Also, Big Ten considering a change in divisions. Do they want different divisions? Do they want no divisions at all? Kind of a mix in feelings from across the landscape of the Big Ten. But also, Nebraska basketball last night had an addition as well. So we'll get into all of that. But I did want to start with this. And of course, we'll have hit in the hardwood with our NBA action. But I did want to start with this, too, with Orlando winning the NBA lottery last night. Some people probably overlook it or don't care. If your team's not involved, you're probably not paying too much of attention to it. But it's always interesting. This year's crop of kids that are going into the draft, there's not necessarily a definitive number one there. So that's what I wanted to ask you, Strick. If you're the Magic and you're eyeing that first pick, do you think you go Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, or Jabari Smith, or maybe go out in left field? Because that's kind of the idea, is that they're kind of those four players are kind of competing for it. I always like Keegan Murray myself, but where would you go if you're the Magic at number one?
That's a really tough one. I mean, I think you've got to love the upside of Chet Holmgren, but he's still, for a lot of reasons that deal with his weight and his strength and stuff that must become a little bit more prevalent when you get to the NBA level. I mean, at a weight of 195 pounds, he has a tremendous wingspan at 7'6", so that's something to be spoken of. He has tremendous upside, but you can understand why at number two, the Thunder would love to grab someone like him. The reason being is it's like a flashback to Kevin Durant, right? So, the Slim Reaper. So he probably looks very similar to him. I mean, a lot of people say that he's complementary to a Dirk or Marcus Camby on defense with his slimness. He has great timing and blocking balls. So his upside is tremendous. At the number one pick, is that something that you want to look at? I think the Magic is looking at maybe Jabari Smith from just the fact that he has elite scoring abilities, right? You got to look back at the times when they were able to get Shaq, and there's no one like that. So I understand what you're saying. There's no one like that. I mean, even I would even be looking at Paolo Banchero just because of his size and his abilities to stretch the floor. And he fits very compatibly into the systems of the day. And so you just don't know. It's hard to say where they're going to go and how the impact they're going to be able to make. The Magic really need an impact type of player. They need a right now impact and also a long-standing impact. They need somebody that's going to be there for the long haul. I don't know if this draft has that, so to speak. I think they have a lot of good players, some players that'll fit in and play some nice roles. I think this is the draft of the underdog, the draft of the person that's going to come out of nowhere and be in the middle or towards the end, Kobe Bryant-ish. Not saying they're going to be like Kobe Bryant, but I'm saying that they're going to be in that range. You're not going to see it, right away. It's possibly that type of draft. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's a great stumper for Strick as to where someone would go in this specific instance. But I definitely think it's going to be between them three, probably Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and Paolo Banchero.
And also in that draft, obviously, will be Bryce McGowens, who is working out today at the NBA Combine. So good luck to him if you're interested in this sort of stuff. He's in shoes 6'6.5", so getting up there towards 6'7". And maybe still growing at his age, 6'8", 6'8.75" for his wingspan. That's kind of where he's at. 181 is his weight. Obviously, we know he's pretty thin. 5.4% body fat. What was your kind of body fat back in the day? Probably it was similar to that.
So I didn't necessarily have the cuts, but my best body fat was at 5'1". That was obviously in Dallas, and I find it interesting as I began to look at some of the mock drafts. Some people, not a lot, I didn't say a lot, but some people believe that he could go as early as the 26 to the Mavericks, which would be kind of crazy.
That'd be awesome.
A lot of people look at him as someone similar to like Latrell Sprewell. His attack ability in the open court, how good he is, streaky from the outside. So a lot of comparisons compare him to like Latrell Sprewell. He's got great bounce. He has above the rim abilities. I think he would be a great fit for a team similar to them, to the Mavs, depending on what their free agency situation looks like. That could be a good grab for the style of play that they play, to be in there, to get a chance to watch and observe like Luka and who is at that similar size other than his weight, but to be able to watch and then just play off of him. He would do good playing off of a guy like Luka Doncic, which he could have some success there.
Yeah, that would be fun to see him do that. For what it's worth, I also saw, let's see if I can find it now, his broad jump he did pretty good in. So, I mean, they're doing all that testing out there, and we won't know exactly, obviously, what it does for you. They even have a 4-point shooting drill that they've got maybe over there from the Big Three League. So it's just kind of funny how they do that. Yeah, 34 inches for his max vert. So, that's pretty solid compared to his competition out there. But we'll see and we're still obviously hoping it's a big deal if he gets picked number one. Nebraska hasn't had not obviously number one, first round draft pick, hasn't had a first round draft pick since Tyronn Lue. So maybe even Tyronn Lue with the Clippers there. Maybe if they have a late pick, they can slide in there and get one. But I wasn't looking toward the back half of the draft. I'm not sure if they do, but congratulations to the Magic. Maybe can get their next big move here. But again, when there's, I think if you're in that position, it's kind of nice when there's that obvious number one, or you pick between one or two guys. This year is just kind of a crapshoot. And so I think the top 4 picks feel pretty good with where they're at. And again, if you're me, I even like Keegan Murray probably of everybody in this draft, and I think he'll be top 5, top 6. So I wouldn't feel too bad if you're kind of getting in the top 5 if you are in that case. For college basketball, Nebraska basketball adding a transfer as well, Emmanuel Bandomel from SMU, somewhat of a defensive specialist. But can score. He's shot over 35% from beyond the arc. I know that's kind of a big deal around here because they've struggled at times from there. And in a double-digit score in each of the past 2 seasons for the SMU Mustangs. I think is 3. Let's see. He's got 1 year of eligibility at Nebraska.
Yeah.
So a plug-and-play situation here. Obviously, they've added Sam Griesel, Juwan Gary. And the belief here, too, is with Bandomel, they're kind of at their scholarship limit if you take away Latmay and Trey McGowan. So I think that this might be kind of signaling, although there was never an announcement, that's kind of where that's going for Nebraska basketball. Do you see this? And maybe they'll add another player. We'll see eventually, and still some movement. You never know with college athletics these days. But this looks like pretty close to the roster that they're going to be running with. How do you kind of feel that Bandomel fits in?
I mean, like you're saying, they've had some troubles defensively. Not that they can't play defense. They could play defense, but they weren't consistent throughout. And getting they have a lot of length now. Similar, I mean, it's looking very similar to me as what Iowa. It's like, I don't know if they took a piece out of their playbook and looked at the way and the style that they play, I was very similar to them as far as just across the board length, right? And then stretching the floor and shooting at all positions. But yeah, with Gary, who is a great slasher, open court, if they get out and run, Juwan Gary would be one of those type of guys who would be and thrive and be successful in the open court. And Emmanuel is a 3-and-D guy. He's one of those guys who will be able to spot up. And right now, I don't know. To be honest, I think probably Ramel Lloyd would be one of their guys that is a tremendous creator based on where he's come from, playing out there with Bronny James and that whole crew out at what's the gosh darn it, I just dropped it's in my head, the school that they in California, gosh darn it. Anyway, my mind it's Sierra Canyon. Gosh dang it. It was like on my mind. But yeah, so he was kind of one of their their lead guards, but he's different in that he's a true point guard. And I think that's what they've been missing. Ramel Lloyd has the ability to score, but he is really a solid true point guard. And so if he gets them out in the open court and pushes, gives those guys opportunities out there, it'll be good. It'll bode well for him. I think he's good. I think it's a good grab for them. It continues to add to their depth and length, and they're going to be able to throw lots of different looks at you.
Yeah, I think that you probably with this experience and his plug and play, you could probably see him kind of as either a starter or kind of the first guy off the bench. So I mean,
he comes from a winning program too, so
right.
It's not like they're a losing program. Been to a couple, tournaments as well. Howbeit it's NITs, but still those are postseason tournaments where you're getting experience and you've gotten experience. I think it's a good addition to the program because they have a great incoming recruiting class in the top 30 nationally, based off of Rivals and 247 Sports. But they also have a pair of top 150 recruits out of Ramel Lloyd and Jamarcus Lawrence, as well as Blaise Keita, who was number 4 overall in JUCO. So I think there's potential there, but I'm eyeing it with the same type of hesitation as I'm doing with the football team. I don't want to drink too much Kool-Aid too early, but I do like the potential of it. They've got still some veteran leadership with Walker. I think it's good to move on from Lat Mayen and add these types of additions to that. You still would like to maybe see Trey McGowens, but I think adding these guys is definitely shoring that up for them.
Yeah, and that is probably the other way to look at it too, is that this is, and it's not final. It just looks like the writing's on the wall for Trey McGowens. Looks like he's decided to move on. And certainly would be helpful to have him back. It's almost like, Emmanuel Bandoumel is kind of a similar type to Trey McGowan. So I think that's, again, maybe more of a sign of kind of what's going on there. But how do you see that loss kind of playing in? Obviously, he was injured much of last year. Wasn't necessarily the offensive weapon that he was the prior year, maybe because of that injury. But you kind of figured if he was coming back with Derek Walker, he'd be, the leader on the team, the focal point. And so kind of moving on with, past the McGowens brothers era here at Nebraska, it looks like.
Well, I definitely thought it was probably an error for him to leave, being that he was injured and just really didn't get a chance to show and prove and put up and put the numbers together that you would probably need to make yourself a viable candidate in the draft but he will be picked up. And the thing that you've got to love about him, you're seeing the success in the NBA right now with guys who are showing and having teams with great defensive prowess. He could be a good addition to a team to try to be a free agent hire and pick up. He won't be an crazy expense to him. And even if he goes into the G League, similar to what Gary Payton II did, it took him some time. And I think he's very similar to that style. Strength and resilience and athleticism, crazy, physical, guarding. And I think if he lands on a team similar to like a Golden State or a Memphis or a very late, probably could be a free agent, great pickup for like the Clippers where, they don't have anybody in the first round. So they're going to be trying to look to acquire some free agent talent out there. So a guy like him who can play defense and be very, I think, Patrick Beverly-ish, but with more size and athletic. Yeah, pesty and with athleticism, I think, it could be a good look for him, but it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen right away because he still has very raw skills. His ball handling to me he's very downhill, one move, one counter type of player. So it's going to be tough for him initially, but I think he'll figure it out, especially if he uses his defensive prowess to be able to give him an opportunity to make a team.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, obviously he's got the athleticism. We saw that with his bounce all along in the the perimeter defense. Like I said, everything else probably needs to be sharpened a little bit, but that will be kind of fun to follow him because he does have, you could see him kind of filling a role there. It's an outsider shot, but we'll kind of see here. Let's go to Craig here on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Craig, how you doing? What are you thinking today?
Good. Hi, guys. I guess I'm curious what your thoughts are on Trey and Lat moving to the portal. If that decision is theirs, the coaches, I don't think either one of them is a pro prospect. And at this point, it makes me wonder if there's not a slot for them or they're dragging their feet to jump into the portal. I don't know if the decision is the coaching staff or it's theirs right now. But it seems like it's kind of dragging along. Love to have him back, but I don't know if it's their call right now. Wonder what you guys think.
All right, thanks for the call there, Craig. Obviously, again, they could have came back to Nebraska. I don't know if they're doing portal or just moving on with their careers, maybe professionally, and you might mock that a little bit, but overseas or wherever it may be for them.
I think that's Lat's perspective is looking overseas. But go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, I think with if you're talking about was there a roster spot open for him? Certainly, I think there would have been. For McGowan's. I think that's kind of obvious. Again, he would have been your leader on the team. He has that again, maybe outsider NBA potential just because of the athleticism and the defense that he'd bring to the table. With Lat, I think that just never developed quite the way that they wanted it to. He did start for him, so whenever you're talking about maybe bringing back a returning starter, but I personally kind of just see it as maybe best for both worlds, kind of move in the separate direction where Nebraska can try to move that scholarship to a place that will help a little bit more as they rebuild this team. And then Lat, he's just kind of getting up there in age and, maybe with his length, he'll always be something that, overseas people will see kind of interesting if he can have a good workout with him.
I say the same thing. I thought that probably Lat wouldn't be coming back. And if anybody would come, it would probably be Trey. I think it's very late for transfer portals for basketball. If you want to go to a really good team, they would probably end up going to a mid-major type of team. I don't think they would go to a big program that would have any type of success. It would definitely be a numbers type of program. I could see them maybe going to like a Colorado State or a Wyoming or a New Mexico State, something like that, or Nevada or UNLV, something like that. But I definitely couldn't see them going to a Creighton or Louisville or Virginia or anything of that nature. So in that aspect, that's a late move in the transfer portal to be able to land a good spot somewhere, I think. But I could be wrong.
How about Teddy Allen? I think he's still out in the transfer portal. Do you like to see a reunion?
Negative.
No,
I think that's a cancerous mix when you're really trying, especially when your job's on the line. If you want to lose your job, maybe but but an up and coming coach who's looking for somebody who can get buckets, they might grab him. But I
can't wait to see where he lands. But
I can't see it being a great program. Nonetheless, he could follow his coach. I don't see that, but could be still in that same vein that Cal State Fullerton type or San Diego State type or something like that, Fresno State type, but definitely I don't see him having upward mobility.
Yeah. And so, again, I just kind of want to run over the roster, I guess, as we see it, maybe the kind of the starting lineup and maybe where that would go for Nebraska basketball if you're trying to start to piece this together with their three transfer portal additions. Again, Emmanuel Bandamel being the latest. I think he along with Sam Greasel are, proven starter type guys that you're going to bring in. Juwan Gary certainly could get the starting role as well. The transfer from Alabama, Greasel, by the way, the transfer from North Dakota State. But I think Gary would kind of be in there with C.J. Wilcher probably battling for that role as I see it. And then, down low, you probably got Bryden Bach, Derek Walker, Blaze Keita, a mixture of those guys starting. Certainly Derek Walker, who will be the leader of the team, and might have a bigger role. And then on the bench, like you said, I mean, Tominaga will be there. Ramel Lloyd maybe could eventually, maybe he pops off, could be a guy that's in the mix there to start eventually. Jamarcus Lawrence, Denham Dawson, and Corrin McPherson, also guys that
Denham Dawson's one to watch because he's been around the program now. He's got a good understanding of what Fred Hoiberg wants and what he's trying to accomplish. So him at a point guard role, he could emerge depending on how well he plays in the offseason, develops as well. But I think he's got a little advantage of being around the program and getting a chance to listen in those meetings and understand. And that's what I would be if I was a player that had been here in the program, watching it and watching all of the things that Alonzo Verge went through and how coach was on him. I would be taking notes, like, don't do that. Be good here, solid here. I would be taking notes. It'd be my dang bedroom wall would be filled with notes, and I'd be looking at every day, so that I would be trying to accomplish those things in game and in practice because, Denham Dawson had the opportunity to see those things.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that he'll have a chance to play too. So I think when you're looking at it, as I'm trying to count up the names here, and there's some other guys that could factor in too, but it's going to be tough to, another fight to get in the starting lineup, another fight to maybe be top 8, and they'll probably, work with that in the preseason as they get going into obviously the exhibition games, but then even into the non-con games. So it'll be kind of fun to watch it play out. There's not going to be, again, I think that what they did miss in the portal, and maybe they can go and still add another big guy. Obviously, they lost some battles with transfer portal players, specifically the one to Creighton, but a scorer. You kind of wonder who's going to take over that scoring role. That's not necessarily Bandomel's calling card. Like, he's more defensive, but he can, kind of be a part of the offense, and maybe that'll work better for Nebraska. But if you're trying to pick out the leading scorer for this team, it's tough to do. It might be one of those years where you have one guy that averages 14, the next guy averages 13, another guy averages 10. That sort of type of thing. I don't think you have a go-to scorer necessarily at this point, and eventually you'll find that in your offense. But I don't know who it would be
yet. That's a dumb thought.
No answer.
No answer. I mean, that's really no, because you cannot. There's nothing there that you can predict, and that's the scary part of it, because when you think about it, not having that identity, that place identified, there's going to be people vying for it. And sometimes that, similar to the Verge, you can see early in the season, it was like a McGowan's Verge competition as to who's going to be the man. It was like two alphas, and I would say super alpha and Verge, and McGowan's kind of, minor alpha, but he just emerges because of his abilities. When you have that, it could mess up chemistry. If I'm a coaching staff and if I'm there, I'm nipping that in the bud, and we're going to be a team, because what you can find is that the success of the team is going to breed success in your next level progressions, because they're going to look at you and just say, "Oh, okay, yeah, you did that on a." That's what scares me about the McGowan situation. He right now is the top. They basically have him listed as the 10th best shooting guard. That don't always bode well. So that means someone's got to really like you if you want to move up and get drafted in that first round. Usually, when you're that far down as far as the prospect of that, I mean, he's a top 30. They say prospect. And that's just upside and abilities and things of that nature. But right now they have him as the 10th best shooting guard. So that's what kind of gives me a little fear. I mean, do you take a chance on it, especially with those shooting numbers, those inconsistencies? And that's again where you're just saying, well, we're gonna fill him in to a spot and not have to worry about it. I would make him probably a two-way player meaning that if you're going to draft him in the first round, you're probably not going to have him on roster early. You'll probably send him down to the G League, let him get some seasoning, get some strength, because that's where I saw his weaknesses was, especially with the way the league is now allowing more physicality in the play. If Bryce doesn't improve in that area, because I saw that when he got bumped off a lot, he was ineffective. He wasn't as effective. He got better late, but I still think he still needs more abilities to get by somebody and have strength to get by. You put a shoulder on somebody and you're able to, emerge by him just that little shoulder, that little arm, and you're by him without getting bumped off your line. So that's what I'm hoping he can do, be a two-way player and still make his money and be able to, get to the next level at some point in time.
Do you think that he needs to add weight to his frame? Obviously, we see some skinny guys in the league doing pretty well. Do you think that that's is a necessity for him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, strength is not necessarily like muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Strength is just, Devin Booker is not super muscular strength, but he can get by you. You know what I mean? Now you'll see a little bit more of that strength in like a DeMar DeRozan, or you'll see it in a Jimmy Butler, definitely a Kawhi Leonard. That's where you see physicality. You see it in Giannis, guys like that. You see what is it called? The marshmallow. What is the marshmallow guy? The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You see that in Luka Doncic. You see that? You see that in Luka Doncic. It's the Stay Puft strength, but it works. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, you see those. But Kevin Durant didn't really ever have that. But he's so crafty and he's so shifty. You see that wiry strength in like Jason Tatum, guys like that.
Yeah.
So it works, but it's technical. You got to have technique in order to use that wiriness to be able to create separation and sliding off guys and getting something by them. And then it's strengthening forearms and kind of them shoulders without pushing off or without hooking. You're just able to put a shoulder on. So if you could see me online, that's why sometimes it's good to watch this, because you can see me kind of acting it out. But if you kind of get by somebody, you put an arm on them and you just slide them. You're not pushing off. You just kind of slide them off and you can get by somebody. So those are techniques that I learned. Definitely Kiki Vandeweghe, one of the best to do it. Wasn't the most athletic guy, wasn't the most talented guy, but he gets buckets. And he taught me a lot of those techniques, and that's what made me successful.
Oh, interesting stuff, and I can't wait to see what happens with Bryce McGowens at the next level. We got to know the draft lottery and maybe where he might fall as they try to figure out some things going. But hopefully he does well at the combine and can raise his stock. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hopefully be joined by Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, usually joining us, but my phone is not sending text messages, so I didn't get it warn him. So we'll kind of see. We'll run that down, and if not, we've still got plenty more to talk about. So that'll be coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Cloud cover will slowly move out of the region. By later this afternoon, should be mainly sunny. A little warm with a high of 83. Light north winds at around 10 to 15. Mainly clear tonight with a low down to around 59. The heat built in for our Thursday. We're looking at sunny skies and an afternoon high in the low 90s. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SCC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
Join us at Cactus by Venue for our new America's Favorites menu. We're keeping your favorite dips and tacos and adding brand new dishes, including delicious steaks, burgers, pastas, and more. Focusing on vibrant casual dining using a blend of fresh ingredients prepared from scratch. Located at 56 and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center, see the whole menu online at cactusbyvenue.com and order yours to go at venuedelivered.com. Cactus by Venue, America's favorites.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
The problem is when NIL was first instated, the NCAA was just like, okay, well, we're taking a step back. Go ahead, do it. You guys handle everything you want, universities, and feel free to deal with this as you see fit.
In my opinion, when you insert that word contract and you have an agent, that's when it becomes more professional-like and less about a college athlete making some money off of their name, image, and likeness.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are on the block here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You can see us on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream if you want to see our smiling faces. At least for myself, I have a face for radio, but that's all right. I mean, you can still go there. You want to look at Strick. Strick's a good-looking guy. But we also have Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald here joining us on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Evan, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing well. And I am not live on the video. I'm live via phone today.
That is correct. Yeah, we didn't get you in here. Maybe someday we can get you on the video stream. Since you're a weekly guest, I mean, maybe we can work it out. But that would mean you have to set up your computer and all that stuff. I don't know if you want to do that.
I'll take the phone someday. I've actually never been to the Ticket Studios before, so
I would love it. Yeah, maybe we should make it a like a reunion when I get back into town. So that way we have just a nice little Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland, and Stricky moment.
Yeah, there we go. We'll have a moment that's waiting there.
I'm in.
Obviously, we're all looking forward to Nebraska baseball having a better season than they did. But as it winds down, what are the scenarios we see? I know their final non-conference game, but as we head into this final weekend, still a chance that they can get the 8th seed. But do they need help? Is that kind of how it's working out?
Yeah, that's the short of it. I mean, they have put themselves in a position where the clearest path into the Big Ten tournament is to sweep Michigan State, and then you have to hope that some of the teams that are ahead of you get swept as well. That could be Penn State, that could be Michigan, that could be Indiana, but all of those are contingent on Nebraska taking all three. Now, their most likely scenario is actually to pass Purdue, and Purdue is a couple games ahead of Nebraska, but if Nebraska were to take even 2 of 3 from Michigan State and Purdue was to get swept, and it just so happens Purdue's playing league-leading Maryland with a chance to win the title, then that would also put Nebraska in. So at the bare minimum, you got to win 2 of 3 this weekend. More than likely, you're going to have to sweep. Not an ideal situation, but, again, everybody ahead of Nebraska is playing the top 4 teams in the league. The Huskers get Sparty, which is the second worst team other than Minnesota. So, it sets up as a sort of a long shot, but certainly realistic. And it's fun sort of as media or fans to lay out the scenarios. For Nebraska, you got to play clean defense. You got to hit the ball the way that you sort of have been doing the last couple of weeks. And if you do that, again, the opponent on the other side isn't necessarily going to wow you with what they can do. So it's out there in front of Nebraska. I suppose at the absolute least, it's an intriguing final weekend. There are still stakes out there, and we'll see what happens.
So Evan, I got a quick question for you, man. Listen, there's something that's kind of popping out there in the atmosphere that another Texas potentially wide receiver should be joining us this weekend. Marcus Washington, it may be someone who shows up. Could it be possible that they may be trying to bring in another receiver into an already big wide receiver room to reconnect Washington with Casey Thompson?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, he is visiting. We confirmed that today. And it's, he's a guy, if you followed Nebraska recruiting for recent years, he was someone who was a major target of them in the 2019 class out of St. Louis there. He attended some mega camps that Nebraska was at, and he'd been to campus before. He ends up going to Texas and knows Casey Thompson pretty well. Like you mentioned, they had some success connecting in last season, a little bit at least. And so now he's back in the portal and he's looking around. And so, it's a situation where Nebraska can leverage some of its pre-existing recruiting relationships. I'm sure Mickey Joseph is in the fray there as well, as he has been active in recruiting guys in. And it's an interesting visitor just from the perspective of, receiver doesn't appear to be one of those glaring needs for Nebraska. But again, the staff has shown sort of their strategy has been a mix between finding guys at positions of imminent need, like quarterback or like defensive line, but they've also not been afraid to go out and to recruit some younger portal players who they like for the longer term. Tommy Hill was an example of that. Keen Williams, who committed last week as a defensive back, is an example of that. Guys who have, 3 or even 4 years of eligibility left. And so the staff clearly liked Marcus Washington the first time around. Now he's coming back and going to see campus again, and we'll see what happens.
I've seen a little bit of a debate on the roster talent that Nebraska has coming into this year, and if it matches what they had last year. I think that's what part of the disappointment was a pretty darn good outgoing class for Nebraska. As you see it, with all the additions that they've added in the portal, do you think that this roster is as talented as last season's?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, I think the defensive side of the ball is interesting because, it was a good defense. It wasn't a championship level defense. Like, you knew what you had, you knew who the veterans were, you knew kind of what everybody's strengths were because they've been around so long. And so you swap that out with some unknowns, but guys who on paper at least have been productive elsewhere and who, could be more talented, right? Like O'Shawn Mathis is probably more talented than any defensive lineman Nebraska had coming back, they would have had last year. The secondary, I think, even though it's going to be less experience, is probably deeper and maybe more talented than it was last year. Receiver, you lose guys like Toure. You lose, if you want to include Austin Allen in that, at tight end. And you bring in guys like Trey Palmer and, Travis Vokolek's back at tight end. So, it's an interesting discussion. I don't think it's super lopsided one way or the other. I think it's probably close. Nebraska did a good job of sort of shoring up areas where it did lose a lot of guys, right? It loses Adrian Martinez and replaces him with Casey Thompson and Chubba Purdy. The defensive line is the most obvious example where they lose guys to the NFL draft or to the transfer portal, or they just retire. And they've addressed that with guys like O'Shawn Mathis and Devin Drew and others. And so I think it has the potential to be better. Certainly, how talented can the roster be when you're 3-9, right? And then probably you have to bring coaching into the discussion too. And I think that's the other interesting part is what happens this year with some guys who have left the program. What does Adrian Martinez look like at Kansas State? What does Jordan Riley look like at Oregon? And on down the list. If those guys thrive and break out elsewhere, I think that probably tells you what you need to know a little bit. And conversely, if some of the players that Nebraska brought in, whether that's on the lines or the skill position, if those guys become instant contributors, sort of like what Michigan State had last year, then ultimately it can be a success story. So I think it's somewhat close, but it's certainly an interesting debate.
And of course, as we kind of project what Nebraska is going to be, you're seeing a lot of preseason lists and stuff like that, but it's kind of been an ongoing conversation around here. How likely do you think that a 4-1 or 5-0 start is, kind of depending on how you look at Oklahoma? And I think a lot of people are just looking at the favorable schedule to begin the year as a reason why Nebraska could take that, next big step if they can get things going early.
Well, maybe it sounds cliche, but I mean, Northwestern, it's got to be the biggest game of the year for Nebraska, and I think it's going to be that way all year. Right? It's not the biggest because it's the first, but man, it sets the tone. I mean, you don't have to go back any further than Illinois last year to see how that set the tone for that season, and that loss carried over into subsequent weeks. It put a damper on things. Nebraska players and coaches have often said they just need to get some wind in their sails, get off to a quick start. It has not happened under Scott Frost. So if you go to Ireland and you beat a Northwestern team that, granted wasn't very good last year, but it looks like it'll be better based on some of the players that they've gotten, that sets you up. And then you've got North Dakota, Georgia Southern, and then, like you said, Oklahoma, and you're starting the non-con portion of your schedule well. And then you've got your two easiest, on paper at least, Big Ten games with Indiana coming to town and Rutgers. So it's absolutely set up for them, unlike past years, to build some confidence early, to get those wins under their belt, and put you in a situation where late in the year you don't have to necessarily, beat all the major powers. You don't have to beat Michigan and Wisconsin and Iowa just to get to a bowl game. Get those wins early, beat somebody maybe that you're not supposed to, show a sign of progress late, get to that bowl game. And that's sort of the path for Nebraska and for Scott Frost to keep this thing going. But man, again, I just can't put enough emphasis on how important that Northwestern game is to get things going.
He's Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, our weekly guest here on Wednesdays on the Block. Evan, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, gents.
There he goes. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Again, our weekly guest. So you can hear him every week here on the Block. It is time to give us a call on the Honda Lincoln Hotline, 402-464-568, because it is 5685. That's not enough numbers. I got to let you know the whole number there. It is time for Shootout with Strick, the best show in the world. Well, this is the best show in the world, but the best game show in the world. Shootout with Strick. I think the topic today is 2008. So if you maybe you were paying a little bit of attention in 2008. If you lived it like us, you don't have any more advantage or disadvantage than Strick. So give us a call, 402-464-5685 on the Honda of Lincoln Hotline. First to do so will have a chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's coming up next year on the Block.
Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Join us at Cactus by Venue for our new America's Favorites menu. We're keeping your favorite dips and tacos and adding brand new dishes, including delicious steaks, burgers, pastas, and more. Focusing on vibrant casual dining using a blend of fresh ingredients prepared from scratch. Located at 56 and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center, see the whole menu online at cactusbyvenue.com and order yours to go at venuedelivered.com. Cactus by Venue, America's favorites.
As we approach Memorial Day, Koppel Insurance Agency takes this time to salute our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, veterans, and those who have given their lives. These amazing men and women put their lives on the line for our freedoms. Let's make sure they know how much we appreciate them. This message has been brought to you by Koppel Insurance Agency. If you're looking for insurance, call 402-475-3213. They are honest and fair. For a solid insurance program, Koppel Insurance Agency. They're honoring our heroes Memorial Day and every day.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation. But finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop, located at 5001 O Street.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
We have 2 boys, so we needed more space. We lived in a townhouse, so we decided to build.
Casey Bowman and her husband Joe built their first home with her. This is Bob Benish of Aspen Builders. Working with Bowmans was fantastic.
After the first meeting, we really liked them as people.
I was really skeptical about the whole building process, more so than Joe was. If there were problems or issues along the way, they called and explained everything. They just really helped ease my mind.
They were really good about giving us options as far as what fit in the budget, what didn't fit in the budget. They have a designer, Rachel.
She was amazing. She was very helpful in making sure that our house turned out good. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change the lot. I wouldn't change colors. I love everything about it. Everything. It's perfect.
Like the Bowmans, you too can make your dream home now. Call us at 463-6811 or online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, planting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job done. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet.
And then, well, this guy shows up, decimates the left-wing narrative. Let me show you guys exactly what happened on this epic
full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself. They let me know I could actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Are you sick sick of mindlessly running on a treadmill or the lack of motivation to consistently work out? Whatever your challenge, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping can help. Whether you want to lose weight, boost energy, or simply improve your overall health, you'll fit right in at Farrell's regardless of age or abilities. Build endurance with their kickboxing and strength training group fitness classes while also getting nutrition coaching. Try Farrell's now for a free week. Visit fxblincoln.com or call Jeff at 402-310-4026. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5681, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It is time for the best radio game show for this hour on 93.7 The Ticket. As Bo Lever helped me kind of get to the bottom of that, as I couldn't spit it out. But we like to say it's one of the best games on the radio in general. It is time for Shootout with Strick here on 93.7 The Ticket. We have Jeff on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Jeff, how old were you in 2008? Were you able to kind of look around, watch TV, read the newspaper clips and all that?
Oh, yeah. I was born in the late 70s. So
oh, yeah.
That's at least the start. So.
Yeah, so you've got you lived 2008 pretty well through, so you got as equal a chance as Strick here. So that sounds good. First, we'll give Strick the chance to put up his score, and then we'll see what Jeff needs to get to match that. Here on Shootout with Strick, you have 4 questions, either or, and then the money ball worth 2 points coming in at the end, an open-ended question that you have to get. Are you ready, Strick?
Let's go.
All right, let's go in 3, 2, and 1. The Magic set a then record for 3-pointers in a game, led by this point guard with 5, Sebastian Telfair or Jameer Nelson.
Jameer Nelson.
That's correct. This historic MLB team set the record for most straight season opening wins. Cubs or Yankees?
Yankees.
It is the Yankees. This movie is the first release as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Iron Man or Captain America?
Iron Man.
It is Iron Man. He would go on to become the finals MVP for the Celtics. Paul Pierce or Ray Allen?
Paul Pierce.
That's correct. And this Giants quarterback would lead one of the most improbable wins in Super Bowl history over the Patriots.
Eli Manning.
It is Eli Manning at the end, so all 6 points. Jeff, you're going to have to bat 1,000 here. You're going to have to hit all of them as Strick is trying to make it impossible for you to win.
Redemption, baby!
All right, Jeff, are you ready to go?
Ready as I'm going to be.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. This drama series debuts in 2008. CSI Miami or Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad.
That is correct. She sets a record for the most #1 U.S. hits in history. Rihanna or Mariah Carey?
Mariah Carey.
That is correct. This Coldplay song released in 2008 would go on to be the Grammy Song of the Year. Viva La Vida or Yellow?
Viva La Vida.
That is correct. This Memphis Tiger point guard would become the #1 overall pick in 2008. John Wall or Derrick Rose?
Derrick Rose.
That is correct. And NBA owners give approval to move the Seattle Supersonics to what city?
No!
Yeah. Unfortunately, the buzzer's gone off. So Strick's waving it off as that he got the win. But the Seattle Supersonics with a little more time.
OKC.
Yeah, there he goes. Strick says it for you. Oklahoma City. But, Jeff, you did well. Didn't quite get the final one in there, so I guess Strick gets the win. But go ahead. Hang up. You have just as much chance as anybody. Thanks for calling in, by the way, as well, Jeff. But you have just as much a chance as anybody to win the chicken anyways, because caller number 3 is going to win because Strick plays on behalf of the people. Call us 402-464-5685. Third caller will win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. There you go, Strick getting the win again today, and you deserve some shout-outs for that, of course, here on the big board over here.
Finish him. Flawless victory.
That was flawless. You didn't miss one there. You want to hear the tiebreaker here, Strick?
Let's go. I want
I
want all the smoke from Bob.
Yeah, let's see if you can
tired
get
of
this
Nick giving me that garbage.
Usain Bolt would break the world record in the 100-meter sprint at 9.72 seconds in 2008. How many Olympic gold medals does he hold in his career? Usain Bolt.
10.
10's a pretty good guess. It was actually 8, so maybe we have a chance there. That's a pretty darn good guess. Big Usain Bolt fan. Did you get caught up into the Olympics when they get going? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's a big fan.
Hey, listen, I actually, man, it was amazing to just watch not only his confidence, but him just go out and execute it. Even when people maybe thought he was slipping or losing a step, and then all of a sudden he would shatter a freaking record. I mean, I thought he was a true because of his size, right? I mean, you can see and understand his size to be able to maybe get stride, but to maintain and then have just top end speeds that was crazy. I mean, especially in his 200s. I mean, yeah, he was. I mean, I think they clocked it that he ran some 40 times that would have been like 3 something. It was crazy the way that it came out, but he was a phenomenal athlete. Yeah.
A question off the text line, even though it's not ask Strick. Well, you know, if you want to throw a question for Strick anytime you can. Dirty Tony and the boys ask Strick, what is your favorite basketball movie?
I would have to say, oh man, Hoosiers. I like Hoosiers.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
I thought Hoosiers was good.
Yeah. Do you like sports movies?
Just the underdog. No, you know what? I'm going to be honest. No, let me tell you really what it is. It just really clicked me. Rudy.
Rudy, that's a basketball movie?
No, I'm just saying sports movie.
Sports movie.
But because of the underdog nature. But I liked Hoosiers because, you know, it was a hodgepodge of guys that just the purity of the game. They wanted to do it, and they wanted to do it at their best and be the best that they can. They weren't the best or most athletic or whatever the case may be, but there was just a bunch of guys that came together under the leadership of a good coach. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And we Shane asked you about your favorite football movie, so you got that one as well. So we have to do more of that. We'll take a quick break here on the block, and when we come back, we got the 5 o'clock hour for you. Plenty going on there. We got Big Ten coaching rankings, so we'll run through those. Obviously, Scott Frost not going to be at the top of those, so we'll kind of delve through that. Also, Big Ten considering a change in divisions. Are they going to go pods? Or are you going to have your permanent crossovers? Are they going to just go back to legends and leaders? I'd kind of like that. We'll talk about all that coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York, so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SCC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, this is Dave Austed from Austed's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet.
Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website and make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Cloud cover will slowly move out of the region. By later this afternoon, should be mainly sunny. A little warm with a high of 83. Light north winds at around 10 to 15. Mainly clear tonight with a low down to around 59. The heat builds in for our Thursday. We're looking at sunny skies and an afternoon high in the low 90s. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey, it's Nelson. Isn't it a great feeling when a company has your budget in mind instead of trying to squeeze it all out of you? That's why Caterpillar Vapes has been voted a fan favorite among premium e-juice, CBD, and Delta 8 customers year after year. And now they're here in Lincoln. Returning customers are always enjoying weekly deals and perks, and new Caterpillar Vapes customers get 50% off their entire first purchase. A company that cares about their customers. Crazy, right? In a hurry? Try the drive-thru. Caterpillar Vapes, 2601 North 11th Street, and online at caterpillarvapes.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega and I like pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
You're on the block once again for the second hour of our show. E. Strick navigating the airwaves right here from Florida with my partner, Jake Bakoven. We thank you for our supporters at Sutter Heyman Jewelers, as well as the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese and the Honda Lincoln Hotline, where you can always tap in at 402-464-5685. Sutter Heyman text line, they're both synonymous. You can hit both of them. We do love to hear from you on the regular because we think our perspective is solid, but sometimes we like to hear your perspective. And sometimes we think it's a little outlandish and we'll just kind of smile and keep it moving. But that's okay, because sometimes our stuff might be out a little bit outlandish. But to talk about that, we kind of dipped into the coaching rankings, earlier this week. Talked a little bit about where we thought maybe Frost, which at this point lands at about 53 out of 65 coaches. It's down at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. There ain't much farther that you can go. To me, that's that Lord-a-dee-doo, Lord-a-dee-doo, Lord-a-dee-doo,
There he is.
There ain't too much further you can go before you cross over the hill and fall off the mountain. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about the top 25 at this point. I think, Bachman, what I found interesting about the top 25 is that there's some coaches in there that is very interesting, especially in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is represented very well. Mel Tucker finds his way in there, 24. I think PJ Fleck at 23. But the one that's surprising who popped, there just seems to be like a roller coaster ride. Like you're at Six Flags or, at Knott's Berry Farm or something like that, man, in the roller coaster ride of going from top to bottom regularly. But we do know he's a good coach, and that's Pat Fitzgerald. He's an interesting one to me. I'll let you elaborate on that in a second. But the one that really throws me for the loop is James Franklin, because I think he recruits well. I just haven't seen him coach to the level of his talent. And so to find him at 15, that's an interesting one to me. I'll allow you to elaborate. We can go through the numbers as well and dig more into that. But, obviously, Ryan Day, he's deserving. I think he's probably even better than Jimbo Fisher, my thoughts. But, maybe they want to see a little bit more out of him. But to see him drop 2 spots, I was surprised. Maybe it was because of what happened last year. I don't know. But he's won 4 straight Big Ten titles. He's been an impact in the Big Ten. He's leading the Big Ten. Okay, he takes 1 loss to Michigan. Does that make him, fall out of the top 5? I don't know. But anyway, that's my thought on it. I mean, we can continue to talk a little bit more, but the unique leap that Jim Harbaugh took into the top 10 is phenomenal, up 14 spots. So how do you view it in this top 5 and the representation of the Big Ten?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see, especially the Pat Fitzgeralds and the Jim Harbaughs. Guys have been around, and so the resume goes far beyond just the most recent season. So there's a lot of that kind of going into play. For what it's worth, CBS does have Nick Saban at number 1, Kirby Smart there, Georgia winning his first championship at number 2, Dabo Swinney at number 3. That is interesting in and of itself. That Dabo Swinney moving down, below Kirby Smart. Maybe that's recency bias, at least in my mind.
Right.
I'd still think that Dabo's probably nobody touches Nick Saban, obviously, with the best coach outside of him.
Bach, I just on that point, I want to let you continue. I just think he is that is the product of just a bad quarterback, a guy that you relied on, maybe a guy that started smelling himself a little bit too much in NIL. And just didn't put in the time to work, the film work, and just ends up having a bad season. I don't think it's a lack of the talent. Their defense was always and still continuously good. I just think they had bad quarterback. It wasn't even that their wide receivers, when I watched some of their games, that wasn't like they weren't creating separation. It's just that he was overthrowing, underthrowing, not throwing into the ground. I mean, it was like, God, I mean, you could just see the frustration on the receivers. And I'm surprised there wasn't a transfer portal exodus with Moses type proportions where there's a parting of the Red Sea that happened there at Clemson. I was surprised that didn't happen. But hey, I digress. I want you to go on.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Lincoln Riley at number 4 with USC. Obviously, he'd earned that ranking with Oklahoma. So I mean, that's not just hype because he's at USC. Usually, see USC get some of that in and of itself. Jimbo Fisher at number 5. You mentioned Ryan Day at 6. Brian Kelly at 7. Now at LSU. Kyle Whittingham at 8. Jim Harbaugh at 9, and Mike Gundy at number 10. So that's just kind of the top 10 that you have there. And I don't have too much of a problem with the list. I think Ryan Day has kind of had to earn his spot in there, obviously inheriting a program from Urban Meyer. I didn't have him as high as maybe many others did his first few years, but now it's hard to argue with 34-4, even though he's coming off his worst season there with the loss to Oregon and Michigan, like you said, in a 2-loss season. Ohio State, it says in the articles, somewhat of a failure. But still, you've got to have him high up there. And I could see him as the best coach in the Big Ten. I still would have a wonder if you just started a program from scratch. Would you want to go with Ryan Day? Because he hadn't, we don't know how that would go. We saw him inherit one of the best programs altogether. We've seen Jim Harbaugh and Kirk Ferentz be able to, kind of build these things. PJ Fleck seems to be pretty good at it. There's a lot of good coaches in this league, and as represented of where they stand. Some of them just kind of get bunched in because they seem to beat each other down all the time. Like we mentioned, Harbaugh there at 9. You have Kirk Ferentz at 13. one below Matt Campbell, which is interesting enough too, considering they're in the same state. And Kirk Ferentz seems to every time they play Iowa State, get the better of Matt Campbell. So I think that should at least be a flipped around. But Kirk Ferentz at 13, Paul Chris at 14, and James Franklin at 15. That's kind of just the Big Ten block there. But I am fascinated too, like you mentioned, with 21, Pat Fitzgerald. That's a career award that's not going off based off of last season. But it would be hard to, just based on what he's done at Northwestern, it's been up and down here and there, but to have won the Big Ten West 2 out of the last 5 years or whatever it is, that's a huge accomplishment. It'd be hard to argue him outside of the top 25. So when Nebraska does play Northwestern in Ireland, I know a lot of people are kind of trying to overlook that game or say Northwestern's bad, and they didn't show off too great last year. But that you got to remember, they do have a coaching advantage probably in that game in Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah, and listen, I got a question, Bach, and I got a question for the Sutter Heyman text line as well. I'm intrigued at what I see at Kentucky, right? Kentucky is not a traditional blue blood. Would you think this is something that Mark Stoops is trying to create? I think you can't do it in the SEC. I just don't think you can overtake even a Texas A&M program, and now with Oklahoma coming and then Texas reemerging possibly in a few years there. Could you see if Scott Frost drops the ball, fumbles, someone like Mark Stoops, do you think Nebraska should go at someone like him, or maybe a Lane Kiffin who's down there at Ole Miss? Because I mean, listen, these are SEC guys that really don't have a chance. But could you see them maybe popping into the Big Ten in a place like Nebraska if the bag is presented well?
Well, I think it's the bag. I think that's what's going to do it. But obviously in the Big Ten and the SEC, that's going to come along with it, with the money that they're making in those leagues. So it might be harder to pick off an SEC, middling coach at those schools. But I mean, it'd have to get to a point where they do feel like they have hit their ceiling. And I don't know if Mark Stoops feels that. He just had his another 10-3 season there at Kentucky. He's had 2 of those. He's been there since 2013. I would love the hire. I think that'd be a great hire for Nebraska coming over into the Big Ten.
I'm just throwing it in the wind, Bach. I don't know. I'm just looking at it and thinking, man,
Yeah.
But go ahead. Keep going.
But I think he's had those opportunities before. And that's what makes me kind of think about it, is that I think that if his goal was to get out of Kentucky, he could have done that before. So
in essence, you think then, so this is the way I've kind of started looking at some coaching opportunities, right? There are individuals that find themselves in those type of big conferences that's good for them. A 9-3, 10-3, that's okay. That will keep you at a school like that for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same thing in basketball, right? Why would Mark Few go anywhere but Gonzaga? You're not in a big conference. You throw yourself in the mix. You're going to get good talent. You throw yourself. This is what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the Mark Few now, not the one that's reached the pinnacle of the mountain. I'm talking about the one when it first started. You know what I'm saying? And you start kind of building it, and then people are trying to pick you off. But I look at it like, if I build in a place, why would I want to go to a Kentucky or to a Louisville or somewhere like that where those pressures begin to go to a whole nother level? But I build a program where we're 25 and 10 every year.
Yeah.
In a basketball program, or I'm 9-3 and I'm competing every now and then at a possible second or third in my side of the conference, and I might clip somebody and put myself in a position, but I go win my ball game. You know what I mean? I can stay at that school. They will love me for 20 years. Because there's no expectation for Kentucky to continuously go out and beat Alabama or Georgia or, those types. You just go beat your Ole Misses. You catch LSU's on their downturn. You pop Texas A&M every now and then, and you can stay there forever.
Yeah, and you can afford a 5 or 7 season here and there. Nobody's gonna
Right.
try to run you out of town for it.
I'm just throwing it in the wind. That's just something I just think about. Like, if you're a coach and you're into, because they're not like NFL coaches. They don't get like what we got, retirement benefits. They don't get that. So if I'm a college coach, I'm looking for tenure, right? I mean, you think about it.
Good.
You're looking for that 15, 20-year run.
Yeah. The other part of it, though, is that you probably have some job security going back there if you need to. If you establish yourself, Scott Frost is probably a pretty good example. I think that if on his downfall, he might be, a team over there in the American might want to see what he can do again because he's already won the American Conference, right? I think that there's certain jobs, maybe Stoops is the same way at Kentucky, where if he goes off and tries and fails at, Oklahoma or Notre Dame or USC or something, he'd still have a landing spot back in Kentucky. So, I think, that could be possible, but at the same time, it's nothing is for sure once you leave a spot, right? I mean, the next guy could come in and do just as well or better.
Exactly. And so you may have missed your 20-year run and you may not get back to that. Sorry, Heyman text line. Talk to Stricky and Bach. 402-464-5685. Am I tripping? Am I just throwing pie in the wind? I mean, pie in the sky thinking, or is it something that maybe you think about sometimes? I don't know.
The next, for what?
Oh no, I'm just saying, am I tripping on what I'm talking about, on where you have a blue blood school, but it's not, that's a blue blood basketball school. That's not a blue blood. Yeah. And you come there and you have success, like you said, two now 10-win seasons. Do you not stay and look at a 15-year run? Because you don't have the same expectations as you do if he goes back to an Oklahoma, or he goes, to even if he goes to like a Florida State or something like that. I mean, they've got history of success, so they're going to expect you to come in there and do something, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm just thinking, like, man, do I stay the course and take this long tenured run?
Well, it's interesting because we have seen guys do that, and immediately coming to mind for me is always Bill Snyder or Frank Beamer at Kansas State and Virginia Tech, respectively, where they had those schools right there, and Beamer actually had an appearance in a national championship game, and Snyder almost had one the year before in 1998. But I always did wonder, what would those coaches be able to do at a power program, and so
like Gundy's not going nowhere. Like,
right.
Why would you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is a quarterback there at Oklahoma State, but that's another good one though. I mean, he's been there a long time. You kind of wonder. I mean, you trust that Oklahoma State's going to be good year in and year out. And you
clip
wonder
Oklahoma.
You
clip Oklahoma every now and then. You don't win that all the time.
What could he be at Oklahoma though, as opposed to Oklahoma State?
Right.
Maybe
that's what I'm thinking. That's all.
And I hope it'd be difficult to get him away again if Nebraska is in the position. That's another name I wouldn't mind going after. Hopefully they give these sorts of guys a call, even though it might be difficult. Nobody else has been able to get him away, but it's at least worth the call. Make him say no.
Yeah,
but hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully Scott Frost.
So hit us on the text line. Maybe I'm tripping, and maybe throw out a coach that maybe we could try to clip off. But anyway, let's talk now. Let's move over real quick and talk about the Big Ten, considering changing into divisions. I know there's been discussions about that in other conferences as well. It's now emerged as well in the Big Ten talks. The Big Ten, they're kind of collective bargaining, whatever they call it in the conferences, that ends in 2022. So there's been discussions outside of this season, in the future seasons, how that would look, what it would look like. Obviously, it would reduce games down to 8. So, Bach, tell me, man. I mean, would you be up for it, or you like divisions continuously? On the Starter Heyman text line as well. Tell us, do you like the divisions, or would you like to see it all emerge as one blob?
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm a traditional college football fan. I kind of like how things were. I kind of like, to be honest with you, I've grown into liking the Big Ten West. It's not the most flashy division, but it certainly has its brand of football. And so I kind of like that about Nebraska, is that, that's you kind of get those familiar foes that you see year in and year out. And if you go to one of these this pod system, the pod system is basically because the conferences are getting too big. So instead of 2 8-team divisions or 2 7-team divisions, you break it down, especially the SEC when they have 16 to 4 each. And then you play everybody in your pod, and then you play, across into another pod. And I guess, at that point, you've got your 7 conference games, or you kind of build it up playing a permanent rivalry somewhere else as well.
I think you throw Notre Dame in a pod.
Yeah, maybe throw Notre Dame in a pod somewhere. But either way, it's so that you'll play everybody more often. And then you're not playing your 6 other rivalries as often. You're playing 3 of them on a year in and year out basis. So it kind of maybe narrows the scope of the rivalries, gets you more invested in them. So that could be kind of a fun part of it. But I kind of like divisions. Mostly what this is being done for, and the Pac-12 actually went with it today. They're scrapping divisions. They're going to make it so that the teams with the 2 best winning percentages in the conference will go to the Pac-12 title game, which they've had that around for a while. It would have changed some of the matchups there. I don't mind that. I think that idea, the Big 12 has obviously done that without divisions in a round robin sense. Now the Pac-12 is getting into it without a round robin. You're not going to play everybody, but it's just going to be the 2 best winning percentages. I think that's a good way to get your 2 best teams in there, and kind of knock off the imbalances that is there. Because if anybody needs it, as far as a conference goes, the Big Ten's just been so one side heavy. Is that a Western team, a West Division team, which they started in 2014, has not won the Big Ten title yet. It's been the East year in and year out. So I think the Big Ten definitely kind of needs that. These divisions were not built equally. I've said that since the beginning. So I don't mind the switch. It's going to take some adjustment, and it's going to be kind of weird if you break it down into pods. But it looks like that's the way of a college football. Again, the Pac-12 is kind of getting into it. ACC necessary. Pac-12, like I said, eliminating divisions. ACC wants to do the same. And so what a lot of people want to see more than anything is uniformity, not necessarily having, I guess the Big Ten have divisions, and the Pac-12 have the 2 best winning percentages, and the Big 12 play round robin, and the ACC, has pods. And so if everybody's got something different, that'll be very confusing. So I think they at least need to kind of get in the same headspace. But as we've seen during the COVID years, the conferences aren't in the same headspace. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. But the Big 10 is kind of following suit and kind of throwing these ideas out there. Can't hear you, Strick.
All I know is Nick Saban's been talking about getting back to parity, and which system. I'm going to throw it out there on the Sauter Heyman text line as well. Which system do you guys consider to be the best system that can probably bring back some parity? Is it a division system? Is it a percentage system where there can have some uniformity across the board in some of these discussions where Power 5 conferences, maybe this is a break away from the NCAA opportunity and create their own kind of system. But Nick Saban's been talking about it. He's been talking about parity. We got to take a break right now, unfortunately, but the Sauter Heyman text line is open, 402-464-5685. Love to hear from you, your thoughts on divisions or not. And also, who can be clipped on the coach's side if Lord, if he falls off the mountain? We'll talk about it another time, but we'd love to hear from you on it as we come back out of the break. Hitting the hardwood with Strick will be next. Got some great tournaments coming on. It's playoff action. Peace.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, protecting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job done. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
As we approach Memorial Day, Koppel Insurance Agency takes this time to salute our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, veterans, and those who have given their lives. These amazing men and women put their lives on the line for our freedoms. Let's make sure they know how much we appreciate them. This message has been brought to you by Koppel Insurance Agency. If you're looking for insurance, call 402-475-3213. They are honest and fair. For a solid insurance program, Koppel Insurance Agency. They're honoring our heroes Memorial Day and every day.
Hi, this is Dave Osted from Osted's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet. Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website and make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Cloud cover will slowly move out of the region. By later this afternoon, it should be mainly sunny, a little warm with a high of 83, light north winds at around 10 to 15. Mainly clear tonight with a low down to around 59. The heat builds in for our Thursday. We're looking at sunny skies and an afternoon high in the low 90s. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Join us at Cactus by Venue for our new America's Favorites menu. We're keeping your favorite dips and tacos and adding brand new dishes, including delicious steaks, burgers, pastas, and more. Focusing on vibrant casual dining using a blend of fresh ingredients prepared from scratch. Located at 56 and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center, see the whole menu online at cactusbyvenue.com and order yours to go at venuedelivered.com. Cactus by Venue, America's Favorites.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. E-Strick on the block with Jake B. Bakoven, Beethoven.
Can't play.
The block is hot. The block is hot. Right here every day, 4 to 6 on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. You can find us. You can always text us at 402-464-5685 or hit us on the Honda Lincoln hotline. What does it say? Is it hot? The block hot on the text line right now. What's going on?
Yeah, there's some talk in there. What Blanket says, I love that Nick Saban wants parity. He is 70 years old, near the end of his career, and has 7 national championships. Now he wants parity to make sure that nobody will ever catch him. Yeah, that makes a little sense. Jeremy says the SEC is not going to 9 conference games. We want equity when it comes to the committee. Everyone needs to do the 8-game league schedule. Again, that's somewhat similar to what I was talking about, is, just kind of across the board, have everybody do the same thing. The SEC years ago leaned into, hey, well, we should do a 9-game schedule. And the rest of the conference is like, yeah, let's do it. And then the SEC is like, never mind. The SEC is too hard. We're going to do 8 games. And they've been going with that, and it's been working for them.
Yeah,
So,
they always getting 2 in the championship game, in the series of some kind. Yeah, so it works for them.
Yeah. Gus says, I think if Frost would duplicate what Bo Pelini did, the fan base would be happy for 10 to 15 years since we've spent so long. You think so? I don't know about 10 to 15 years. That's what
listen, I think right now, like I'm saying, I think if you have that type of situation where you kind of start off with a Bo Pelini, you're every now and then you end up with like a schedule like this, or you're going to clip a Michigan, or you're going to clip an Ohio State. And you catch them slipping, and then you end up with 11-2 or 10. You know what I'm saying? A 10-2 type of record, and then that's another 3 years, and you come back and okay, as long as you're fighting, if you're in the fight, man, I think people can understand if you take an L in the fight, because every now and then you're gonna end up like Buster Douglas, and you're gonna be in there with Mike Tyson, which is Ohio State or Michigan or sometimes Wisconsin, and you're going to hit them with a right hook over the top, and they're going to sleep. That's just how it's going to play out. And then all of a sudden you find yourself catching a Jimbo Fisher moment, and your NIL hit real good, and you got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 stars that pop in, and you make a run for 3 years, So I think that's how you do it if you're going to do it.
It is going to be interesting to see if Frost does take that step. What are the expectations moving forward, right? Because you don't want these tiny steps taken forward every year. I mean, if they go 7-5, I think that'll keep his job around, because it is a step forward. But eventually, you want to be competing, year in and year out, be a top 25 type of team, even in the bad years. And that's kind of in the Bo Pelini type of regime. That's kind of how it was. And so, I mean, we'll see. But I think after Nebraska starts winning again, you move the goalposts, and that's what's going to happen. We've had to move them back so far. I get that, being in this, we want 6-6 offseason type of feeling all the time has kind of lowered it. But I don't, I think that if you've won 9-10 games a couple years in a row, I think you're right back to believing that that's where you should be. That that it's Nebraska's a blue blood, and you're kind of born into believing it should be that good.
And that's the way this is how I'm looking at it, right? Like, for example, Kyle Whittingham at Utah. Why would you go anywhere else? I mean, Oregon's down. You win your side. You clip USC every now and then. You run the tables, and you beat everybody you need to beat over there. Why would you leave?
That's another.
I mean,
one,
he's 68-31, 4 division titles, and Pac-12 title. Why would you go?
Well, you feel like there's a ceiling there. I mean, if he could get the a job like we've been saying at Texas A&M, USC, something like that, I would like to see what Whittingham could do with a program like that.
Yeah, but then your pressures go up, and you might be out in 4.
Yeah, that is possible.
I mean, it happens. But anyway, I'm done. I'm done debating that point. Let's talk hitting hardwood, man. The Heat take game 1 over your vaunted and my vaunted. I feel sad now. Boston Celtics.
That's one game.
Yeah, I mean, but they're at home, and they look good doing it. I mean, we talked about this before. Is Jimmy Butler capable of leading this team? He did it before, had some injuries in the bubble, wasn't fully healthy. They come up short in the championship against the Lakers. He's healthy now. They're pretty much healthy outside of Kyle Lowry. They win game 1 without him. Jimmy Butler goes nuts for 41 on 12 of 19 shooting, added 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks, shooting 18 free throws and made 17 of them. He had a magnanimous game, and he pulled it out, got busy. They were down in this game. but their second half was phenomenal. Bach, I know you were sad. How do you feel about it?
Well, it was the third quarter that did the Celtics in. They lost 39-14 in that third quarter. Then they had some threes to kind of come back into it, but the Heat matched them. They were hitting threes too. And that's why you can't lose by 25 in any quarter in one of these games. But also, I was interested. I don't know how hurt Horford or Smart is. I mean, that's going to be fascinating moving forward. Celtics played without two of their starters basically.
Well, they say Horford, Bach. They say Horford entered protocols, so they could lose him for a couple of games. But yeah, they're not fully sure on how long on Smart. But yeah, I just wanted to touch that while you're on that point. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that could be hurtful for Boston. And yeah, I kind of wondered if it was something where it was like, all right, let's try to get let's see what we can do in game one with these type of guys. A long-term plan for the series, get them healthy, hopefully try to escape Miami with a win. Still have a chance to head back to Boston 1-1. And as we know, if we've seen with these playoffs, sometimes the series doesn't start till you've won on the opponent's home court. But that wasn't Boston's best group moving forward. And you could say the same about the Heat without Kyle Lowry, but they're now 7-0 in the playoffs when Kyle Lowry doesn't play. So, I don't know if he's going to get back to full strength. But it looks like that might be just the run that they have, because he pops in here and there, still injured. You wonder if Robert Williams was completely back too. He had a really nice first quarter, and then kind of you could hear the commentators talking about how he was pretty tired, pretty quickly. So to me, it's not too damaging for the Celtics. It is another great game from Jimmy Butler, though. Like you said, is that guy just turns it on. It's funny. I was watching the game, and you were kind of wondering when he turns it on. It's like he's a playoff guy. He's a fourth quarter guy. He kind of can get lost here through minutes. 5-10 minute stretches throughout the game, but when they need him, he can turn it on. And boy, did he. The Miami Heat again. Don't forget they're the number one seed.
Right.
They may not have the superstars that some of these other teams get, so they don't have as much talk about them. But that is a heck of an organization and a heck of a start for them.
They were quietly just strolling along. I mean, there really was nobody talking about it. Everybody was talking Brooklyn. Everybody was talking Boston. Everybody was talking all these other teams except them. And they just kept strolling along, just kept plugging, just kept winning, and found themselves the number one seed. But here's something that's a surprise of this game that was highlighted by steals that led to that led to baskets in 3 consecutive possessions. Miami opened the second half. They were down now, mind you, with a 22-2 run to take control of the game. There's another stat line that I found that was very interesting, in that along with his 41 points, Jimmy Butler's line looked like this. Jimmy Butler's line looked divine. 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 block shots. And here's the stat line of that divine effort. Since the NBA started charting all of these stat categories, there's only 5 players, Anthony Davis, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and James Harden, who did it twice, had those lines in a single game. But here's what's awesome. None have happened in a playoff game until now. Is that not crazy?
That is crazy.
Look at the people that he found himself in the category with, but none of them, not even MJ, not even Jordan, who is the GOAT, not even LeBron James, who is the 5th best of all time. I know the Sutter Heyman text line about to go crazy. YouTube going crazy right now. But listen, no one has done this in a playoff game except Jimmy Butler. And this is what I love. And Coach Spoelstra said this. He said, there's a lot of guys in the league that are playing basketball. He's competing to win. That's a totally different way of looking at it than anybody else is looking at it in this league. That's the way I view Jimmy Butler. He is a dog. He's come from, meager means, and he's looking to solidify himself as a great in this league.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too because you remember late in the season they had that little scruff up on the bench with Udonis Hasselman and Jimmy, and then Spo, the coach, getting into it with Jimmy as well. Apparently they've been able to mend their differences because they're hot right now. And again, I'm not too worried about it if I'm the Celtics because you did play without two of your starters. If that becomes a problem, further into the series, it should be. Again, they won. The Celtics won 3 out of the 4 quarters. Just got destroyed in the third quarter with a lot of those. I mean, just gut wrenching, like you said, turnovers at mid court. Guys can't even bring it up on 3 straight possessions against the Heat. Just get it swiped and automatically leads the point, and just kind of bury the Celtics in that manner.
No question. Now we turn it over to the Western Conference. Golden State Warriors, which is the 3 seed against the 4 seed Dallas Mavericks at Golden State tonight. That game is at 9 Eastern on TNT. Luka versus Steph, but it ain't going to be Luka versus Steph. That's the thing we got to really just get into our head. It's who is going to basically cover Luka Doncic, and it's going to be a treasure trove of everybody on the team at some form or fashion in this game is going to be guarding Luka Doncic. That's what it's going to come down to. They're going to throw the whole kit and caboodle at him. It's going to be 1 minute. It's going to be Steph, then it's going to be Klay Thompson, then it's going to be Draymond, and then they're going to throw everybody at him. This is, I think, a series where they wish they probably had Gary Payton II as well, just to throw a treasure trove of the players at them consistently and giving him different looks, different bodies to feel, different sizes. I think that's what's going to be the game plan in this series on how they're going to try to defend them. They've already done this on multiple times in the series. Them facing off against Jokic and the way that they had to handle things there. They're just gonna try to figure it out, man. They've already done it, and they're gonna try to figure it out in this game as well.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting as we see the Warriors' big 3 this year. Of course, only played 11 minutes together in the regular season. Now kind of getting it going. We've heard about the strength in numbers in the past. I don't know if they have as good of a core to lean on or as deep of one. Obviously, they've got some guys. Jordan Poole's been magnificent, and they've got a few guys that can.
Wiggins.
Wiggins is solid.
Kevon Looney.
Who would you put Luka, who is an okay defender, but you want most of his energy spent on the offensive side of the ball? Who would you put him on defense? Who would you?
Wiggins. I'd probably put him on Wiggins.
Yeah,
I put him on Wiggins.
Yeah, you don't want him pumping in there with Draymond. You don't want him chasing Steph around.
Or Thompson. Thompson's going to have you just
run around.
Yeah. So, but here's the game plan for them. They're going to run pick and roll to death and off screens to death and pick and slips to death to try to create these mismatches. But let's get real about it. They got the same smoke they got to contend with because they can't just hide somebody because Jalen Brunson's been getting into his bag. Yeah. Shooting is phenomenal. Dorian Finney-Smith is capable of getting hot, and Spencer Dinwiddie and Luka have combined to have one of the highest ISO percentage rates and scoring rates. So you can't just get off of Dinwiddie and think he can give you that smoke too. So that's what I'm looking forward to this game. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. But because the Warriors operate with strength in numbers, they've got a few numbers that they're down on. But we're going to see how their shooting is going to be able to be effective in this game as well, based on the way that they play. So
in both these teams, very good defensively, 2 of the top 4 teams in the league. So that'll be fun to watch, but completely different styles offensively. I mean, the Warriors are going to throw the ball around everywhere, try to get a lot of motion going. And the Mavs are kind of the ISO dominant, even if it's not Doncic, like you mentioned, Jalen kind of gets into it, or Jalen Brunson does, or Dinwiddie. So contrast the styles will be kind of fun. And I can't wait for Luka, whether it's a switch or whether that's how they run them, is Luka and Draymond, because those are 2 prideful guys and very emotional guys. After Luka scores, he'll give you a smile. And Draymond, if he makes a stop, he's coming with the trash talk. So I think that'll be kind of fun.
And don't miss this. Dallas in the past has found a way, which I think the Warriors are going to they're going to be looking at the film, trying to work around that. But they found a way to minimize their ball movement because the Mavs actually won 3 of 4 regular season meetings against this team. So it isn't like they haven't done it before. They've actually won 3 or 4. So let's get real that we're not just looking at this is just an automatic Golden State run of the mill. So it's going to be interesting. This game's going to start tonight at 9 Eastern on TNT. I will be checking it out and seeing where it goes. But we've got to go and take a break right now. We're going to move on to finalize the segment, finish it up. We'll see where it goes after this. Come back and check it out. We might just jump into anything. You never know on the block. We'll be back. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Strick and Bach right here. We'll be back.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour. And other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Call Nebraska Auto Detail today at 402-601-5086.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Another packed summer sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Stop by for great deals on May's Beer of the Month for Boulevard Brewing, Tallgrass Brewing, and Glacial Till Ciders. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
Are you tired of lousy internet and faceless customer service? It's time to experience local, honest, hassle-free, and exceptional. That's the Allo Promise. We not only provide crazy fast fiber internet, crystal clear TV, and dependable phone service, but we choose to become a part of the communities that we serve and love when everyone calls or stops by our store to say hello. So don't settle for mediocre, settle for exceptional with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/local.
Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
It's the weekend. Do you know where your kids are? The dangers of alcohol, marijuana, and other controlled substances are bad enough. They become even worse when teens get behind the wheel or catch a ride with an impaired driver. Parents, it's time to start what could be a life-saving conversation with your kids about the dangers of underage drinking and drug use. Learn more at coalitionrx.org. Paid for by federal grant dollars through Nebraska DHHS and Region 6 Behavioral Healthcare. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A few more minutes here as we close out On the Block with an interesting day today from the NCAA. They've kind of been in their meetings getting some things done, and the Pac-12 didn't take too long to jump on some of the new rules that they threw out there, basically saying you don't need divisions in a 12-team league like the Pac-12 has, and so they've done away with them. They're done. They're gone. The Pac-12 will now have the top two teams with the best records in league play in their championship game, and the expectation is that some of these other teams will follow. The ACC is talking about going divisionless. The Big Ten is throwing out the conversation. Either that, scrapping divisions, working them to try to get some more competition in on each side. The one thing that I have a problem with the Big Ten. The Big Ten's going to have more of a difficulty getting rid of divisions, I should say, because they have a lot of trophy games, a lot of rivalries that they want to protect. And then the biggest thing is you have that Michigan-Ohio State game, the tradition of playing the last regular season game against one another. And then more often, I don't want to say more often than not, because, you kind of project these things out and it doesn't usually turn out that way. But I guess it would just be kind of awkward and really minimize the Michigan Ohio State game, the game at the end of the season, if kind of going into that, you already know there's going to be a rematch for the title game. And so, that's something that I think is going to be hurtful as they try to rework this. And we'll see what the Big Ten does. But the NCAA, by the way, also came out and said the 25-man scholarship cap, which is previously removed this past year on a one-year basis, is now eternally. They're just kind of throwing that. You can get more than 25 guys now, even if you didn't have the 85 scholarship limit in the past. You've had to be doing 25 per year. Now they're throwing that out and saying the only number that matters is the 85 total scholarships. So that seems to make sense in the modern day transfer portal world, where it's hard to even keep a number on. You don't want to punish teams, I guess, with guys entering the transfer portal.
Bach, you said it all, man. I don't have enough time to dig into it, but I look, they made the decision. That's where they're going to go. The key is going to be who's going to follow. Who's going to follow the leader? Is there going to be a follow the leader, or is it going to be create our own? Are we independent of thinkers and just create our own system? But hey, kudos to them.
Yeah, we'll see if it all kind of comes together. There's so much change on the way in college football, and it's kind of just like piecing it together year by year. So it's going to be a lot of differences throughout the year. I know that like the Pac-12, it's immediately scrapping divisions, but they're not changing any of the scheduling. Because it's already in the system. But then, moving on to 2023 and stuff, they're going to try to start, their more equal scheduling. And the ACC, it sounds like, is going to go to not so much the pod mode as a 3-5-5 type of mode, where you have 3 permanent teams you play every year, and then you play, of the other teams, you play 5 1 year, then 5 the next year. So, but the whole idea is to play more teams more often in your 4-year career, instead of like Nebraska. I always call Indiana the anti-rival, because even though they're playing them this year, they've been in the conference since 2011, and they played them in football twice. So there's, the mismatch you have there, as we've seen Iowa or other teams take advantage of, and a much easier crossover schedule, which Nebraska, for what it's worth, has the easier crossover schedule this year. So I'll kind of see how all that turns out. What to watch out for tonight? Of course, we already mentioned the Mavs and the Warriors, so that'll be exciting. We'll talk about that on Hitting the Hardwood tomorrow. Also, Thirsty Thursday, a day we look forward to, as always. So that'll be coming up next on the block tomorrow. Ticket Weeknights coming up next here on 93.7 The Ticket. So stay tuned. That'll be right here after these short messages. But that'll wrap it up for On the Block. Thanks for joining us today, and have a nice Wednesday evening.
Are you tired of lousy internet and faceless customer service? It's time to experience